Hi, I'm Chanaye Jackson, and welcome to the Idea to Empire podcast, where we go and discuss with you what would happen if you stopped being a frustrated entrepreneur and business owner and really created your own empire. And I wanted to talk to you about masterminds. A mastermind is a place where you can get together with a group of people to discuss and bounce ideas off of about a particular subject. And in this particular case, of course, I'm going to talk about in your business. A mastermind is an opportunity for you to have a group of people who eventually, and probably fairly quickly over time, are going to be really invested in your success. And that's both personal and business-wise. The goal of a mastermind is really to have that place to bounce ideas and thoughts and troubles that you might be having in your business. I want to tell you a little bit of a story. So back in 2020, before the world ended as we knew it, I joined a mastermind. I've had a few businesses at this point, and at the time I had two. Both of them were in the film industry. One was a production company and the other one was a audio equipment rental house for film and TV. As a part of the mastermind, we decided to end up meeting every week. Inside of this mastermind, there was myself and my business partner. There was also a podcast editing service. There was a chiropractor. There was a integrative health medical doctor, and there was also the two leaders. So there was a nice mixture. However, because my business partner and I were so different, the other folks had been a part of this mastermind for several years. My business partner and I and another set of people, two other people, were brand new to the group, and we were trying to figure out how best to improve our businesses, whereas others were significantly more established. My mastermind focused on hot seats, so everybody would take a moment or 5 minutes and discuss a problem that they might be having in our businesses at the time. And because of COVID, the reality was the chiropractors can't really meet with their in-person patients, for example, right? There was a point where we were afraid, or at least had a little bit of fear around spending money because we weren't sure what the economy was going to be doing at the time. I'm sure you remember what 2020 and 2021 were like, so I'm not going to go into any other detail about it. We too, as film industry folks, my business partner and I, our industry had changed immensely. So that meant that we needed to do a little bit of pivoting, or a lot of pivoting, so that our business could continue to run well and that we could still make money, even though the film industry had largely become very, very quiet. So one day we had a hot seat. I don't really remember what the lady spoke about. I'm going to be honest. It was a while ago. I'm sure it was along the themes of patient care coupled with addressing some of the environmental concerns that we're having at the time, right? We were deep in the pandemic. So after listening for her 5 minutes, or maybe even she went over, there wasn't a whole lot of response. It was pretty quiet. So our leaders went ahead and jumped in. They started giving her advice and thoughts around what she was talking about. I was also really quiet. I had thoughts and ideas, but I was nervous. I was very nervous, actually. I was nervous partially because I was a brand new business owner at the time. I had just really started being a full-time business owner and a business owner that has to pivot. So as the leaders were discussing their thoughts and ideas, I too had some, and after they stopped speaking, it was quiet again. And I knew that the hot seat technically wasn't over because I knew that there was more thoughts and ideas in the group, including with myself. And so even though I was the youngest, even though I was the most inexperienced, or at least felt that way, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and say what I needed to say. I had a lot to say. It was coming from a place of having been a strategist in my corporate life, of having dealt with people and understanding some of their needs and wants. It had come from my time in education and understanding, sometimes you do have to do a little bit of teaching for people to feel more comfortable. It's not about always immediately to the sell. So as a part of my answer, I gave her some positives and negatives about sort of the thing that she had gone ahead and talked about, the situation that she was in. Then I decided to walk through a decision tree. If you make this decision, then that will lead to this decision. And if you decide which one of these two pathways will you decide from there? And I gave her some opportunities that I felt was inside of her wheelhouse because of this hot seat. She had plenty of opportunity to be awesome, and I thought that it was worth exploring. Then I gave her a timeline. If you make this decision, it's probably going to take you 3 months to get this done. And if you make the other decision, then that might take you a week or two, sort of depending on how quickly you want to move forward. Again, she had lots of opportunity to be awesome, and she already was. But I thought that making sure that she understood my point of view as an operations strategist, as another business owner that has a unique point of view, that here's some thoughts and ideas, and maybe a little bit of advice. She said thank you, and she was very lovely, but I will never forget the response that I got from one of the leaders. His name was John. John didn't really build off my answer. He kind of left it there, and instead he said, "Hey, Chanaye, I would pay you for a course so that you could teach me how you did that." And I remember being absolutely flabbergasted at his remark. It was completely unexpected. And to be honest, I really believed that everybody knew how to do positive and negatives in their business, that they could create decision trees and understand timelines and understand foundations that would be necessary for them to execute. I had no idea. And that's the first thing that went through my head. You don't know how to do this? He'd been in business for several years and had multiple businesses over time, so I was confused. I think I probably said thank you, or, oh, really? But I kept that little thought in my head. John, if you're listening, if you're watching, thank you for that statement. Because I'm going to tell you something. 2 years later, I launched Swan Town Creative. If it hadn't been for a remark that John had said to me, kind of out of the blue and out of nowhere, I would not be where I am today. It was monumental in my growth and in my development. It was exactly what I needed to hear, because I was already understanding that it was time for me to make some changes in my business life that had nothing to do with the film industry, that had nothing to do with working with a business partner. I wanted to work with business owners about their operations, about creating strategy, about feeling good in their business, about having a foundation where they could have a life. I had come from corporate where my entire identity felt like it was work and work and more work. My corporate life felt that I needed to always be focused on my job, even though it doesn't define me well. So what's happened since is I created Swan Town Creative. I really credit my mastermind for putting me 4 years later in the position that I am now. And I really, again, credit John and that mastermind for helping me get to where I am now. So what would it look like for you to join a mastermind? To find a group of people who are absolutely invested in your growth, in your business, in your personal development? What would happen if there was a way for you to have a community of your peers who understand what it's like to struggle with business ownership, to be excited about opportunities that you've developed, to get some feedback and ideas for when you're stuck or even when you're not stuck? So I want to give you a thought. Something that I'm really excited that I'm doing this upcoming June 6th. I'm working with FSQ and Consulting at a mastermind summit. And what that mastermind summit is a series of small masterminds, about 45 minutes in total, where you will have the opportunity to meet other business owners and have a discussion about your own businesses. And you can talk about lots of things: sales, marketing, how you balance your work and your life. There's lots of ways in which you can use a mastermind to get better as a business owner. So I'd like to extend the invitation to come to the FSQ's Mastermind Summit, but also to find a group of your peers who can help you along the way. I hope that you're always seeking opportunities to grow your community, not just in your business, but people who are outside of your business who are invested in your growth. And with that said, I'm Chanaye Jackson, and this is the Idea to Empire podcast. I will see you next time. Bye.